and welcome to the Tees Valley Sport Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Reid, and today on Meet the Team, we've got the Project Officer for Talent Plan, Mark. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks very much, Danny.
It's great having you here. Mark, you have got quite an interesting journey into the team of Tees Valley Sport. Can you tell us how you got to the position of the Project Officer for the Talent Plan?
Yeah, of course. So I actually started here 4 years ago in January. So it was just before COVID. So it was in what was the then normal world. First time I actually left the house after having a new baby, left my wife and daughter at home for the first ever time was for my interview. So when I actually first started working here, it was a different role to what I'm in now. So when I first started here, I was the Yes Coach manager, which was more around the sports coaching side of things, looking to do sports coaching in schools, communities, holiday program delivery and stuff like that. And then, unfortunately, that kind of was about to run its course. And the person who was doing the talent plan work prior to me, Chris, he handed his notice in. And I applied for the talent plan role, and it just merged me over nicely to not actually be out of a job.
So what was your history regarding sport, and what was your kind of direction into Tees Valley Sport? Like, obviously, you were doing the Yes Coach stuff. Is there any history in the background there?
Yeah, so when I was 16, 17 years old at college, I did a placement through my college course, and I did my placement at Darlington Sports Development Team. So I was there for a week. I got embedded in the sports development team. I went to loads of what people might have thought boring meetings, but they weren't. Went out into the community, did loads of kind of shadowing of coaches. And that lit a spark for me, if I'm honest. I just thought that's what I wanted to do. So since then, I went to uni, did a sports development and coaching degree. I became a casual coach for Darlington Sports Development Team. Then my boss, who was my placement boss at the time, was then my casual coach boss, and is actually still the manager of the service now. A long time ago, that one. So then went to uni, completed my degree. I became a student sports president for a year at Northumbria University, where I basically oversaw and ran the books side of sport for a year. So it's a paid role. It's only for your first year out of university. So I did that for a year. Amazing experience. Learned loads about sport. Learned loads about the admin side of things, how to best engage with people.
I suppose that's one thing you don't really think about. You go sport, you just we'll go and kick a ball around the field, play football. You don't actually think about the other side of things, do you?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. And I think until you see this side of the desk, that it's not just put a couple of goals down, go and play football, go and play cricket. There's a lot more to it. And seeing that, especially from my placement at a younger age, that really lit my spark. That really was what made me want to get in this direction.
Ah, cool. So can you tell us what the talent plan is?
Yeah, so the talent plan, it's an extension of our Amplify program. I'll come on to that a little bit later, just to stick on the talent plan for now. So basically, talent plan work is 3 specific areas in the Tees Valley. So we've got Billingham, Loftus and Redhall and Darlington. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give children and people opportunities that perhaps they can't get by themselves. So perhaps giving them opportunities, access to specialist facilities, giving them access to specialist coaches, connecting the community. So a key thing that we're trying to do is build relationships. So we're trying to embed the work we're doing into the community. So the work which I'm doing, it's a project that will come to an end. So it's my contract, actually, the work will run out in March 2025. So we're trying to make sure that we're putting things in place that will last the length of time.
Yeah.
So we're looking to do key areas. The 3 areas are very, very different, very similar, but very different. So Redhall, for example, it's very insular. It's just a place in Darlington where people go there. There's one road in, one road out. There's not a lot of sports facilities there. There's no sport clubs there. There's a community centre. There's a mugger. So what we're trying to do is we're looking to...
What's a mugger?
Multi-usage games area. Sorry. Thank you for that one, Danny. So we're looking to give these children and people an opportunity to experience... to be honest, Steve, who does the coaching there, he's fantastic. He represents England at Kettlebells, Great Britain. He's got some kettlebells gym. He's got a fantastic background in sport coaching and a sport of numerous different sports and physical activity. So he's got in there and he's really trying to get these children and people onto the talent pathway right at the beginning, trying to light sparks. So I guess Redhall is different in that there isn't any infrastructure there for now. So we are trying to give these children a first experience, but a really positive experience, something that it might lead to them thinking, oh, I really enjoyed that session of basketball that we did, or table tennis that we did, or netball, for example, or athletics. Let me go and find out what's out there. Because at the minute, Red Hall doesn't have that. It doesn't have anything like that. So for them, it's in getting them the confidence to go off the estate and going and finding these clubs, and it's getting these community network links and stuff. So Red Hall is very different. Loftus, we're working really closely with the swimming club there. So they've got a lot of really high talented athletes. But again, Loftus, it's very out of it's by itself. There's nothing really around it. There's a cricket club there. There's an athletics club run there. There's a leisure centre there, and there's not many sport clubs. There's not many facilities there. So we send a coach in there to do their strength and conditioning support.
Wow, you actually go into the facility.
Yeah, so we run it out of a squash court. So it's delivered where they train. So rather than getting them to come to us, we go to them. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so we send a coach into Loftus who does 2 hours a week working with their 14 and above age range. In fact, so we do take from 12 now, 12 and above. And we've seen some massive improvements.
Really?
We've seen some personal best times of the flying down. We're getting, some of the kids are winning regional championships, they're getting to regional finals. And for a place that has the facilities as Loftus does, it doesn't have a lot there. So to them to be able to make those steps forward is just fantastic. Billingham, it's probably one furthest advanced. Billingham's got a great infrastructure behind it. It's got a lot of good sport clubs, a lot of good facilities. But I think what we probably found in Billingham is there's a little bit more we see more deprivation, people from low socioeconomic income families. So what we're trying to do there is, again, trying to connect the dots. We're trying to put things in place to help them to the next level. So what did they want? What did they need? They were struggling with strength conditioning support, with the facilities to deliver that for the boxing club we're working really close with in Billingham. And we've partnered up with Andy Burton, who owns Active Body Conditioning. He's fantastic. He works with a lot of the big regional boxers, amateur, semi-pro, professionals. So it's giving them access to those facilities, the same facilities as the pros. It's giving them the real state-of-the-art stuff.
Yeah, like a taste of what it's like.
Yeah, so we're looking to give them that taste of the professional life. So, we're doing a lot of work within the club where they go out on a weekend, on a weeknight, and they do some work with Andy. But then similarly, we're giving them the holiday programme activity, which is something that I've been really passionate about, kind of working with the clubs to provide this for them. The kids are asking for it. The coaches have said that it's something they don't do much of over the holidays. So we've given them the chance to go to Andy for a day a week. We started it May half term last year. We've done it May half term, summer, October half term. Apparently they want to do it at Christmas. Now, Christmas for me, it's not time for training, but those kids want to carry on, so let's do it.
It's great that there's such a fire that's been lit in them wanting to train so much and actually seeing the value and the benefit of these other styles of training that are on offer.
Absolutely. So it's giving them the specialist support. As a coach in a club, you're probably at the highest level of coaching that sport, but giving them access to a specialist strength conditioning coach who, as I say, he's got his own business, he's got a fantastic client list. Giving them access to Andy and giving them access in Red Hall to Steve, in Loftus to Millie. It's just been fantastic to open those doors and let them see what's out there and let them experience it. So a fantastic story from this is that we've actually got a couple of the kids that come from Loftus have started attending Andy sessions in Billingham, Stockton. They actually come over for a weekend to his classes.
Wow.
So they've obviously seen the benefits.
That's brilliant. Well, yeah, I suppose if you get exposed to a new way of training and you see the benefits of it, it's almost a due diligence to carry on.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting stories sent through all the time about, let's say, the children at Loftus in particular are smashing their PB times. They're feeling fitter, they're feeling stronger, they're feeling healthier. Now, it's fantastic hearing these things. Giving these children these positive experiences, giving these children these opportunities to see what's out there for them, what they can aspire to be, what they can aspire to get to. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I suppose as well, like giving them all these opportunities and like you were saying there, inspiring them to see what's out there. It will really broaden their horizons, not just on the sport level, but on everything as well. We can't discredit the impact that it'll have on like the mental well-being and those side of things. Obviously, because these kids have come through lockdown quite young, and now having the opportunity to jump onto programs like this, I think that really is a really big positive experience.
Absolutely. I think, it's like I said, I started this job just before COVID and just before lockdown hit 4 years ago, and how the world's changed. And these children, what they were doing 4 years ago to what they're doing now, they've lived through this pandemic. So then to be able to give them these opportunities and give them these, they have such positive experiences. I mean, I wish I had these things when I was a kid. I wish I could have gone to a full day of training for a day, my holiday. God, I'd have snapped the hand off.
So let's rewind a little bit, right the way back to the beginning of lockdown. You just started a new job. Lockdown hits in. Can you talk us through how that changes the dynamics of how you need to work as an individual and as an organisation?
I think I'm probably a real anomaly for this, that my work was, when I was first employed by Tees Valley Sport, it was to get active into schools. It was to go and look for school sports coaching work. Now the schools are on lockdown. They're not having people in. They're not having sports coaches in. So my role in the lockdown completely changed. So I was kind of looking around, helping with tackling inequalities funding to organisations. It was still looking to develop the Yes Coach in the background, but obviously they knew that I couldn't go into the schools. I couldn't bring the income in at the time. So my role completely changed. We all went to home working. I had to go and buy a laptop because I didn't have my own laptop even, so I couldn't have worked. I had to go and get a laptop. I think we knew it was coming, so I went out and got a laptop to prepare myself to work from home. And then it was one day, it was right from tomorrow, you're home working. You're not coming back at the office.
How did that feel?
Well, it was big uncertainty. I'm a bit of a chatty person. I like to be around people. I like to be in that bubble of work. I like to be around the colleagues that we work with. And to all of a sudden be told, right, you're off to work from home. Now, I had a 4-month-old baby at home. With my wife at home, who was on maternity leave. So it was a challenge for me to know they were downstairs doing whatever they were doing during the day. I was upstairs working, and it was just that I can hear them downstairs playing, being, doing the mother-daughter bonding things, and I'm upstairs working. So that was really challenging for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Obviously, it was amazing. We had breakfast, lunch, dinner every day together. So that was fantastic. But to know they were downstairs and I was upstairs working, knowing that was happening was weird. That was tough.
So how did you find it needing to change the way that you worked for that period of time? Because it wasn't we've got 2 weeks off, go and work in the office, like your home office. It was, right, we've got quite some time off and it's uncertain when this is going to end. How did you find the change from being in the office, a chatty person, to then being working very insular?
I'll be honest, it was tough. And I think anyone that says it wasn't tough is probably not being 100% honest. I think everyone went through times where they had bad days, where there's no one to talk to. If you had an issue, you had to pick up the phone. We discovered Teams. Teams is something that I'd heard of before lockdown hit. And all of a sudden it's like, right, well, you need to speak to someone, you need to give them a Teams call or pick up the phone and talk to somebody. So that for me was, as I say, being very honest and very open about it. It was tough. It was a challenge to be so isolated from your team. So working together, but working in an isolated environment, and that was weird. Especially for me, I was only 3 months into my job when we're told to go and work from home. Now that was very surreal. Yeah,
because I suppose you wouldn't have had like real deep relationships with the people that you work with, and then being told, right, now you're going to go and talk to them via a screen every day, rather than actually in person, because it's a different experience. So do you think there's been much difference in like the learning, like from the back of lockdown, moving forwards? What lessons do you think we were able to take forwards from the time that we were locked down to where we are now?
Although COVID was obviously horrendous and lockdown was one of those experiences that we never want to go through again. Please, we don't want to go for another lockdown. But I think there's a lot of positives to come out of it. I think people have realised that, I wouldn't want to work at home permanently, but being able to take myself away from the office for a day and actually be able to crack on and do my job at home. So we didn't used to be able to access our university system via our laptops because they didn't want us to do it. And then you're able to do that. You're able to, if there's a day when I live in Darlington, and if there's a day when my meetings are in Darlington, my work's in Darlington, well, rather than coming to Middlesbrough, I can just stay in Darlington and work remotely. Now that's a huge positive. And I think that's something that has been a bit of a positive thing that's come out of COVID. That, you know, there is that you can be a little bit isolated, but you can then have that office environment. Like, my wife works at home permanently. I couldn't do it. She loves it.
Yeah.
It's perfect for her. But for me, I need to be around people. I like to chuck ideas about people. I like to, rather than pick up the phone or a Teams to chat to somebody, I like to just shout across the office to you, Danny, what do you think about this? Or,
Yeah.
That for me is, yeah.
So on the back of this, do you think there's been much development regarding like testing and learning of different methodologies and practices now from this new way of being able to almost like hybrid work?
Absolutely. I think the test and learn approach is something that we at Tees Valley Sport, we're a massive advocate of. I think Sport England are very key in test and learn approach. So for the talent plan work, we've tested out a few different projects, and we've tested out some deliverers who haven't worked for what we needed them to work for. So we've moved on from it. And I always remember Mal, our old boss, said to me, he said, if you try something, it doesn't work, as long as you can justify why you did it, if it did work, why it didn't work, why it didn't work, then that's fine. Never be afraid to try things. And I think that for me is a real thing that I've always kept kind of at the forefront of my work. If there's something that I think, oh, let's give it a go, it might not work, but it could work. Like the Hold It program, for example, for what we're doing with the Loftus and the Billingham kids. We tried it in May half term last May, and we got some fantastic feedback. But if it hadn't have worked, we'd tried something new.
Yeah.
But the kids loved it. The feedback we received was amazing. They loved it. But we took some of the learning. So, for example, we thought that they'd want to have a little bit of time sat down, being a bit of learning, just to be almost talked to and ask a few questions. They hated it. That was I think we had about 20 kids come through the May half term, and 18, 19 of them said didn't like the learning. It's like school. So what we did for the summer, we totally changed it around. Everything was interactive. All the learning, interactive. All the creating things. They were sticking things in the body parts. We had people thought the nose was the knee, their elbow was the shoulder, but it was hilarious. It was great. They loved it. They were engaged. They were passionate. They were experiencing it more. They were really enjoying it. And then the feedback from the summer, they loved the learning. They loved the training. They loved the learning because we'd listened to them. So that test and learn approach, it's huge. It's so good. It's so important.
Yeah, and I suppose like just jumping back to what you were saying there about what Mal was saying about the almost having the vulnerability and the freedom to fail and fail forwards. As long as you take a lesson from it, it's not really failing then, is it?
Absolutely. I think if people don't fail in the job, then again, I said it previously, but they're probably not being honest. Everyone fails. Everyone has things that they've looked back and gone, oh, I wish I'd done that differently.
Yeah.
I could have done that differently. I could have done this instead of doing that. And if you say you don't, I just don't think you're being honest with yourself. Everyone's done things in their job and their life that they think, if I'd given that chance again, I would have 100% done that differently.
Yeah. And I think as well, the great thing about being in an organisation where it is very prominent that it is test and learn. Everyone talks to each other about their programs and projects that they're running, and there's no fear in the office of saying, I did this project and it didn't work. There is no kind of, oh God, they failed at that. It's like, all right, well, why didn't it work? And actually being honest about it and open about it and having that safety to be able to talk about it, I think is a really, really great culture to be part of.
Absolutely. And it's great that you're not pressured. If you do something wrong, you're not told off. You're not put in front of the team and Mark failed at this project. We all need to point and laugh at him. Actually, I'll be honest and tell you why I failed, why it failed, what I've learned, and what I'll do differently. And that is a huge culture change. It's a huge shift of culture within which we've had in our team.
And I suppose being part of like the one of 43 active partnerships and being able to share this knowledge as well across the UK makes it like a really big positive force, because we can share learning, we can share what's won and what hasn't won, and allowing people to really take the golden nuggets from the best practices and the worst practices on the other side of things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being part of the Active Partnership Network it's massive. It is a big, nice buffer to have behind you, that you've got 42 other organisations working to the same goals and direction as you. If you've got something you need to share, there's a place to share it. If you've got stuff that you've done well, share it. If you've got stuff that hasn't gone well, share it. People are happy to, if someone's made a mistake, well, let's try and make somebody else not make that same mistake that you've made.
Yeah, exactly. Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Champion. Thanks, Danny.